Hi everyone, it's Tinky. Welcome to another interesting tutorial. I appreciate every one of you for your support. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for your likes and shares. God bless you. And today I'll be showing you how to make this type of exaggerated sleeve you're seeing on the screen. This is the body that I'm going to fix the sleeve on. So it's a kind of bustier, and the sleeve is a separate sleeve that will be attached, so you can see the type of sleeve I'm going to attach on it. So I'll be drafting the sleeve here in this tutorial. So all you need is your fringe. So this fringe is not the exact fringe that was used in the video, but I will, just for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be cutting the length of the fringe because this is as long as 7 inches, but I'll be using 2.5 for this tutorial. So actually the one on the screen is like 1.5 length. So what the next thing I need is the add stay. This is called add stay in Nigeria, like a peplum stay, but it's a kind of interfacing that it's kind of it has fabric and it has gum on its side. So this is my fabric that I'll be using for this tutorial. So I'll be cutting the two sleeves together. You can see the length. I'll be taking the length now. The length is 14 inches. And so here I have four folded together already because I'll be making two sleeves at a time. So here I have 14 inches for the length. Then I will divide the 14 into 2. I take another 7. So this is where the armhole will go through. This is the armhole. So I'm drafting out the armhole right away because the armhole is almost 20 inches circumference of the armhole of my client. So I have drafted out the armhole like so after dividing the 14 into 2. So from that upper line, just draft your armhole down to the 7 inches that I measured. So after I have done that, I made sure that it has the armhole circumference measurement is there. So right away, the next thing to do is to come to this line, then draft it down like so, just like you're slanting the line up to that 7 inches that you measured. So I'll just slant it down like so. So I have gotten the shape of the sleeve and I'm going to cut out right away. So the width is, because I told you the length, but the width also is 14 inches width. The length is 14 inches and the width is 14 inches. You can make it as wide as you want. So after I have done that, I'll cut it out and this is what I have. And I told you I'm cutting the two sleeves together. So I'm cutting the lining already. The black material is for the lining. So I'll just cut the lining the same shape that I used to cut the main fabric. So after I've done that, the next thing is to cut out my interfacing. So you're going to fold half of an inch on this side like so. Fold half of an inch because your interfacing must not interfere in your sewing process. So you need to fold the half of an inch up. So you fold the half of an inch on this side, and also on the upper side you're going to fold half of an inch, because I told you anywhere you're sewing, here I folded 1 inch. Anywhere you're going to sew, your interfacing must not interfere because it is a hard stay. It is a hard interfacing, so it must not interfere. So after doing that, I cut it out and this is what I have. I'm actually going to cut 2 pieces of this also to be able to use it for the second sleeve. So I'm going to place it on the wrong side of the sleeve like so. This is the shape of the sleeve. So the next thing is to place the interfacing and iron it. So I place the gum side on the wrong side of my fabric and I iron. So you're going to apply it like so. And after you have done that, the next thing to do is to do, this is the second sleeve. I'm done with the second sleeve, or I've ironed that already on the second sleeve. So after I have ironed my interfacing on the sleeves, the next thing to do is to get my lining. You're going to also iron interfacing on the lining, but at the point of doing this tutorial, I didn't have enough interfacing, so I just use a paper stay. So you can just use a paper stay. This is my fringe, and the fringe will be cut out to the measurement that I needed. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using this type of fringe. You can get a beaded fringe in as much as you have the opportunity. So after I've done that, what I'm doing is trimming out the excess. So cutting out the 2.5 and trimming out the excesses. So I'm using the ones that I've trimmed out to cut out the excess. So I'll be removing the excess like so till I cut out all the fringes, the fringe length that I need. So this is what I have, and after I've done that, after I've cut it out, I'll go and place it. It is what I will use to design my sleeve. So now the sewing of the sleeve. So the first thing is to place your lining on the right side of the main fabric. Place your lining on the right side of the main fabric and stitch like so with half of an inch. And after I have done that, I will notch. So in as much as this fabric is not a stretchy fabric, so I'm going to top stitch on the lining. I will top stitch on the lining like so. After top stitching on the lining, I can turn it to the wrong side of the main fabric to cover up the inner side of the fabric. And this is my bone. So this is a rigidine bone. It's a sewable bone. You can stitch on the bone. So just get the center of your lining. So I'm trying to chalk the center of the lining where I'm going to pass the bone. You can see the bone is popping up to my side. So the bone must curve up to your side like so before you place it. So the placement is very, very essential. And after I've done that, I will stitch on both sides of the bone. I'm going to stitch on both sides of my rigidine bone. So the stitching process is what I am doing right away. So after I have stitched one side, I'll go ahead and stitch the other side too. So I'll go ahead now and stitch the other side too. So when you're stitching your rigidine bone, you need to be very careful because you need to stitch on the at the tip. So at the very tip of your rigidine bone, that is where you must stitch, because if you don't do that, your thread will be cutting. So I'm almost done with stitching on the other side. So after you have stitched on the other side, this rigidine bone is to give it a structure in such a way that even if you watch, if you wash it, it will not be soft. It will still have that structure. It will still be hard and still have that structure. So after I have done that, I'm going to stitch the side like so. I'm trying to turn the side. So I've stitched the two sides, turn it with lining. So I'll stitch both sides with, I'll stitch both sides. You know, we are still on the wrong side of the lining. So I'm trying to use the lining to turn the main fabric to the right side. So I'll do that, secure the side, because this side, by the time I stitch together, it will be showing. So that's why you need to secure it. So after I've done that, I will turn the sleeve to the right side, notch all these areas and turn to the right side. So when I turn to the right side, I'll go ahead and give it a nice press so that it will be very neat. So I will not turn to the right side and give it a nice press. So whatever I have done to one sleeve, I'll go ahead and do that to the rest, to the second sleeve also. So here, as I have turned to the right side, I will match. So I'm going to stitch right away to secure it. So I will match it and trim out excesses. So we are almost done with the sewing of the sleeve, and the next thing is the fringe. So this is how I'm going to place my fringe. So here the fringe will be placed here. There is a strand up here that you can stitch on, but if you buy the type of fringe that you cannot stitch on it, like if it's a beaded fringe that you cannot, you can untack. So all these things you can, you fixing of your fringe is not as difficult as sewing the sleeve itself. So you can just untack if your fringe is a beaded fringe that you cannot sew. So after I've done that, the next thing to do is to go ahead and stitch the fringe on the sleeve. So if in this case, you know, you should know that the thread will show on the right side, but since it's a matching thread, it does not have anything to do with the outcome. So if you don't want to stitch, you can untack. You can untack in such a way that it will not show on the right side. So there are many ways you can do this. So after I've done that, this is what I have. The sleeve is almost ready. Then the next thing is to fold into two and stitch together on the sewing allowance. So I'll just stitch together on the sewing allowance. You can make it as wide. This sleeve can be made as wide as you want it. You can, in as much as I made the length as 14 inches and the width as 14 inches, you can make it as 18, depending on you, depending on how wide you want it and the size of the person that wants to wear it. So I will stitch by half of an inch here to secure the sleeve together. I'll stitch by half of an inch here, and this is what we have after stitching. So after stitching, the next thing to do is to go ahead now and turn to the right side like so. So turning to the right side, this is what I have. This is what I have. So I'll go ahead now and fix my sleeve on the body. I'm going to fix the sleeve on the dress. So this is the armhole. This is the armhole. So I have done whatever I want to do. I'll trim the armhole to what I need, and the armhole circumference also. The armhole circumference on the dress is not as much as that on the sleeve. The sleeve must be XX so that you'll be able to pleat on the shoulder. So what I will do right now is to just turn to the right side of my sleeve. I'll place it on the right side of the armhole, then stitch with half of an inch. Here I'm trying to fix my sleeve. That's what I'm trying to do here. The right side on the armpit, that is where I always start, because it is easier on the armpit. When you start on the armpit, it is easier to fix your sleeve from there. So I'll make sure the right side of my sleeve is facing the right side of the armpit. Then I'll go ahead and do this carefully, because one, the major reason here is that it's not always easy to fix sleeve that has been, because I've added a stay already. It is hard and it is not that easy. So you need to do it carefully so that your fabric, your main dress, will not be rumpled. So you need to be careful. So after as I'm doing this, I'm stitching with half of an inch. I'll go ahead and do this carefully, and when I get to the shoulder area, I'm going to pleat the XX. So this is the XX. This whatever is remaining here, I'm going to pleat it on the shoulder. That's what I'm trying to show you here. So I've notched the shoulder on the neck, on the main, on the dress, and also on the sleeve. So the mid sleeve has been notched, and I'm going to match it together. Here the excesses will now be pleat on it to make it puff a little. So you can make it as excess as you want it. If you want the puff here to be much, so you can, that's why you can make it more than 14 inches. If you want the puff to be more than if you want this puff to be XX, you can make it more than 14 inches. So I'll just go ahead and fix my thread, and after I have fixed my thread, I'll continue the sewing, because you can see that on both sides I've sewn the sleeve on both sides, so remaining the upper part, the shoulder part. So I'll pleat the remaining part, the remaining sleeve on the shoulder part. So I'll just go ahead and complete the sewing process this way. So this is what I'm trying to lay down the sleeve properly and pleat. So that is what I'm trying to do, and I want you to see it, because the art stay is interfering. So after I've done that, the next thing to do is cut my thread and check if the sleeve is properly fixed. So you can see the pleat that I told you about. Check if the sleeve is properly. We are almost done with this tutorial, because I can see the sleeve is properly fixed. I'll go ahead and iron it, and I'm still going to place it on my mannequin, but the mannequin is size 8, while this dress is size 16. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'll still show you. I'll still show you how it will look like on my mannequin, though my mannequin is sleeveless. So I mean, my mannequin is armless mannequin, so it does not have a arm, but at least I'll still show you. So this is the result. This is the result of the sleeve, and I hope you've gained one thing or the other in this tutorial. And if you have any question, you can leave your question in the comment section. I'm going to reply as soon as I see your question, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, take good care of yourself. Bye.